If you've watched my Stardew Valley Expanded series on Twitch, you know that I have quite a few opinions about some of the villagers in this game. You! I've never... Oh, okay, Jazz I don't like anymore. I can't believe she broke my furnace. You demon child! Today, however, we are going to be focusing on the marriage candidates from both Stardew Valley and Stardew Valley Expanded. Hello everybody, my name is KiwiRP and I'm so excited to get into this video. I know that a lot of the marriage candidates are controversial and people have a lot of opinions about who's the best and who is not so great. So hopefully you can all take this as just my personal opinion. Honestly, I respect everybody's opinions on these marriage candidates. I just have my own personal opinion and that's all there is to it. So, we are gonna start off with, I think we'll go with Emily first. So, for Emily, I have a bunch of notes for all of the marriage candidates, just to kind of keep my thoughts on track. But for Emily specifically, I said she has cool blue hair, she loves crystals, she's a quirky girly, works at the saloon, she makes her own clothes, and she will give you a whole outfit if you do a quest for her while married, and that'll be at 14 hearts. So, I also added the special bonus of getting to steal Clint's girl, because we all know, or most of us know, that Clint, he's not the best guy, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw Emily in pretty good. She's not my favorite, but I do respect the Emily love, for sure. Next, we are gonna move on to Abigail, who, honestly, she's one that I'd love to marry. So for Abigail, I put cool purple hair. She's a little bit moody and very relatable. She's kind of a badass. Like, she really loves to get into the mines and hunt monsters, even though it terrifies her. She really wants to go for it, and I have mad respect for that. She plays the flute, which is also pretty cool. I tried to play the flute in high school, and I just wasn't cut out for it, so mad respect for that as well. One of her biggest quirks that I found out recently, actually, is that Abigail eats rocks. I don't know if everybody's caught it. I know I certainly didn't catch the dialogue the first time I played, or even the second time that I played, but Abigail eats rocks, and I find that very interesting. I also noted that her loved gifts are meh to get. They're kind of annoying to get, unless you really mine a lot, because obviously she loves rocks. But Abigail, I have a bit of a bias towards, so I'm gonna put her at pretty good as well. I might change my mind on some of these as I get further down the list if I realize I'm being a bit biased, but we're gonna go with that for now. So moving on, we have Claire from Stardew Valley Expanded. She works at Joja, which I put a red flag next to that in my notes. We don't like Joja, unless you're playing an evil route, which honestly I want to do at some point, but I haven't yet. So I also put that Claire complains a lot, which we all complain throughout our life. I think that's like very valid, but Claire, every time you talk to her, or almost every time you talk to her, she's just complaining about Joja, and it's hard to really like feel a connection with her character when that's all that she talks about when you first get to know her. So I'm gonna put Claire at eh. She's eh for me. Next up, we have Rasmodius. So I put that he has cool purple hair. For all of the people with colored hair, I think that's cool, so you'll hear that a lot. And Rasmodius is literally a wizard. Now, I haven't dived into his romancing in Stardew Valley Expanded, so I am a little biased, or I have less information on that, so I'm gonna put him up at pretty good. I think if I knew more about his storyline, like I know you go down this whole wizarding route, but I haven't tried it, so he will be at pretty good, because I think that's a really cool storyline. Next up, we have Lance, also from Stardew Valley Expanded. I wrote down that he's overall pretty cool. He has interesting quests and storylines, but his loved gifts are kind of annoying to get. Lance just... I don't really care about the quests that he does. I mean, I had to note that they were pretty cool because obviously I don't want to be biased here. I do think they're pretty cool, but it's not something that I personally enjoy, so I think if I was rating him in general, I would put him higher, but for my own personal enjoyment, I'm gonna put him at eh. I know that's very controversial because a lot of people love Lance, but I'm sorry, he doesn't do it for me. Next up, we are gonna move on to Shane, my favorite. I'm absolutely biased with Shane. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right off the bat. I know that a lot of people don't like him, but hopefully some of my notes here can change your mind. So I wrote down that he is a sad, angry boy when you first meet him. He's kind of rude, but me being me, I'm like, I'll explain it away. You know, he's going through it. We all go through it, and you know what? It's okay. I'll take it. So that is what I put down, and I said he's super sweet once he feels safe to open up. I also noted that he gives you blue chickens once you have enough hearts with him, which is really cool. I'm absolutely obsessed with the blue chickens, and I think everybody should befriend Shane for the blue chickens. I also wrote that we have to save him from Joja Mart. Joja Mart is the worst place you could possibly work, and if you marry him, you're saving him. You're saving him from Joja Mart. I mean, you can befriend him and help him through all of his other problems, right? And I won't get into too much about that because I don't want to like spoil deep storylines for you all. But you can save him from Joja Mart if you choose to marry him, which I think is amazing. I wish I could save everybody from Joja Mart. So Shane is gonna go in my absolute best. I know that's controversial, but we're just gonna move on. So next up we have Haley, and I wrote that she's kind of a jerk until she opens up, but she will become really caring and down to earth if you befriend her, even hosting a charity event for the villagers. I'm not going to get into that, obviously, again, for spoilers' sake, but Haley is pretty cool once you get to know her. And I also wrote that her loved gifts are kind of annoying to get because she likes coconuts, I think, and she likes sunflowers and pink cake, and that's all like things that I struggle to like pay attention to get early game. So we are just going to throw her in pretty good because she's not the best, she's not my favorite, but she's pretty damn awesome. So next up we are gonna move on to Leah. Now Leah is a character that, or a villager that I didn't really feel a connection with for a long time. However, and this is a quote from my notes exactly, she gave me a green bean and cured my depression. So I will throw in a clip of that from my Twitch stream. It was absolutely the best moment in Stardew Valley that I've ever experienced. Amazing. If she gives me a green bean, I will change my mind and I will love her. Whew, that's all of them. Now I need to decide what to cook with these tonight. She gave I also wrote that she is a super chill character and such a sweetheart, and her loved gift, which is salad, is super easy to get. So I think I'm gonna put Leah also at pretty good because I like her a lot. Next up, we are gonna move on to Victor. He loves his spaghetti, which honestly I can relate to. I absolutely love spaghetti. And that is an easy gift to get because you just have to go to the saloon and pay like, what is it, like 300 gold or something and get it for him, which not too bad once you get into the game a little bit. He also loves cats and has a storyline about one, so that's a little bit biased for me because cats are my favorite. They're my favorite, so he is going in absolute best. Next up, we have Olivia, and I don't really know too much about her character. All I know is that she's Victor's mom, and, you know, I'd like to befriend her, but I'm not really interested in marrying her, per se. So I'm gonna put her at She's pretty cool, but I don't really want to marry her. So next up, we're gonna have Alex, and I wrote that he's actually such a jerk. He triggers my fight or flight. And he has a really sad backstory, which is interesting to learn about. And I'm pretty sure he starts to like open up and become a little bit nicer in the long run, but he's just so awful in the beginning, at least in my opinion, that I don't care to play through it. I don't care at all. And I know a lot of people like him, but I can't find it in my heart to like him, no matter what. But yeah, so Alex for me is stay away from me. Again, controversial opinion, but he's stay away from me. Next, we have Harvey. And he's obviously really smart. He's a doctor. He's also very down to earth, I find. Like, he's very chill. And he loves to help people, obviously, based on his career. And he loves coffee, which is pretty easy to get as well in early game. So I also love coffee, so that's a little bit of a bias for me. I'm going to put him at E, though, because he is slightly boring. He is a little bit boring. Next up, we have Maru. So Maru is a character that I haven't really interacted with that much. She's just, I don't relate to her really at all. So I kind of just ignore her. Like, especially because she's pretty much always in the house that she lives in with her father and Robin and Sebastian. So when I go in there, all I'm looking for is house upgrades and whatnot. I don't think to like wander around the house to find her or anything. So just because of that, paired with the fact that she is super smart and she's very sweet, I'm gonna put her at E. She is an E for me. Moving on though, we have Sophia. Sophia is my pick, Twitch picked her as my love interest in the Stardew Valley Expanded series that I'm doing. I wrote that she has cool pink hair. She is anxious, and that makes her very relatable. She makes wine for a living, which is really awesome. That's something that I want to do on my farm. So, we can go into business together kind of thing. Like, we can be a great power couple. But then I also noted that her loved gifts are very hard to get. She has expensive taste. She likes a lot of things that are kind of hard to get early game. She does, however, like one flower. I can't remember exactly what it is, but that one flower you can grow in like summer, I think. So if you just get a lot of those going, then you're fine. I'm gonna put Sophia at, I'm gonna say pretty good, which might be surprising, but it's hard to get her to like you just because she's a little anxious, right? And honestly, I get that, same. But it's a little bit difficult, so I'm gonna put her at pretty good. She would be absolute best for every other reason, but she's a little more difficult. Next up, we have Elliot. Elliot is a quiet writer. He's kind of boring in my opinion. And he's a little pretentious. And, that just doesn't vibe with me. Like, I find his storyline interesting to a degree, but for the most part, he's boring and he's just pretentious, and it's not for me, personally. I also noted that he has nice hair, so with everything, I'm thinking we're gonna put him at E. I'm struggling to put anybody at pretty bad. I don't think I will. I think everybody's staying above E or above pretty bad or stay away from me. So that is very interesting. Next up, we have Penny. Penny, I wrote, is an absolute sweetheart. She's great with kids. So, once you marry her, you can have like a bunch of kids and she's going to be a great mom. You know it. She's going to be there for them all the time. She's going to keep them educated. Like, it's the perfect scenario, right? And I also wrote that she deserves better than Pam. So if you marry her, you're also saving her from Pam, which is a big plus. I'm going to put her at, I wouldn't really say she's pretty good. I'd say she's just because of my own personal, like, she's not somebody that I like to marry, but I don't think she belongs at if there was a category in between that, I would put her there, but she's going in pretty good. Next up, we have Sebastian. I wrote that he's an emo boy, and I really like that. That's just, it's my type. I also wrote that he is a relatable person. He loves video games, and he loves to just have peace and quiet, being alone in his little basement room. And you know what? I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Just, you need your downtime, right? He also plays in a band, and he loves to say frogs. I know once you marry him, I think he like gets into frog rescuing or something, which is pretty cool. However, I did note that he rarely leaves his room, so he's hard to give gifts to at the beginning until you have those, I think, 3 hearts to be able to like get in his room. And I also wrote that his loved gifts are easy to get. So if you just every Friday go and give him a gift, it'll take a little bit of time, but you'll start to make progress there. So for Sebastian, I'm gonna put him at absolute best. I haven't married him yet, but I always want to. I just end up finding somebody who's a little bit easier. So yeah, we're gonna put Sebastian up there just because overall I really like him and his vibe. Last but not least, we have Sam. I wrote that Sam has golden retriever energy, which I think is like a very common consensus among the fandom. He plays in a band with Sebastian as well. And I also should note that I think Abigail is also part of the band, that she plays like the flute in the band. I don't know, I don't quite get it, but I think she's part of the band too. Anyways, going back to Sam, I also wrote that he's free-spirited, and he eventually will write kids music. Like, I think it's only if you marry him, he'll do like a whole thing where he writes kids music and that becomes his whole career thing, which is really sweet, honestly. And it's nice to see him like find something that he really enjoys, because at the early game, he's very like, not sad, but you can tell that he's struggling with the fact that his father's not around and, you know, worried about his little brother. And then eventually he will find something that, you know, brings him that joy and kind of pulls him away from that pit, I guess. But for Sam also, his loved gift is pizza, and he also likes Joja Cola for some reason, which is a bit of a red flag, but I'll look past it. He loves pizza, so that is very easy to get early game. Both of them are pretty easy to get early game. And I've also married him before, and you know, he's a fairly good husband. I did divorce him to marry Abigail, but that's besides the point. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in pretty good. Now that we've ran through all of the options, let's just kind of review where we're at here, and see if there's any changes that I might make. I put Shane, Victor, and Sebastian at absolute best, which I'm pretty good with that. I like that lineup. For pretty good, we have Emily, Abigail, Rasmodius, Haley, Leah, Sophia, Penny, and Sam. I'm kind of thinking I might bump up Sophia to absolute best, because she's iconic, and you know what, she's my new favorite person to try and romance in this game. So even though she's a little bit more difficult, like with the gifts and stuff, she's gonna go back, or I'm gonna put her instead at absolute best instead of pretty good. Everybody else in pretty good I'm okay with. As for we have Claire, Lance, Olivia, Harvey, Maru, and Elliot. I'm okay with that lineup. I don't want to change any of that. I think I'm pretty solid on that opinion. For pretty bad, we have nobody, and for stay away from me, we have Alex. So, Alex, I'm sorry, you're the low man on my list, but you know what? Other people love you, so that's okay. But yeah, this is my little tier list for the Stardew Valley and Stardew Valley Expanded love interests. I hope you all liked this video. I kind of getting like worried about doing tier lists because people have a lot of opinions, and even though you state that like this is your own opinion and you respect everybody else's opinions, there's always going to be somebody who gets a little upset about it. But hopefully I've laid it out in a way that is clear on my reasoning, and like I said, I respect everybody else's opinions that are different from mine. These are just my opinions, my initial thoughts. I could always change them in the future. I know I have changed my opinion on some of these characters anyways, but yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you haven't already, please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye, friends!